David Crooks Jr. I've been in and out of the industry since 2009. Not always as a driver, but in some capacity. Primary thing I like the most about being an owner operator is being able to call the day-to-day shots. As a company driver, that's all I wanted, was to be able to decide when I wanted to do something, how I wanted to do it, and where I wanted to go. You can only go to New York City so much before you get frustrated. Living in New England, that's a big hot spot for me. Today on CloudTrucks Academy, we're going to go over broker relationships and how to maximize load revenue by building these relationships, and also load offers and being able to get dedicated lanes for yourself. You do not have to join a carrier that has dedicated lanes. You absolutely can get these on your own. Benefits of developing a relationship with a broker is building up that trust factor so that they know when you first start calling, you're just some random person. They don't know who you are. But once you build that repertoire and you start building that relationship, they'll start to realize that you're reliable. And once they give you that load, they don't need to worry about it. Biggest challenges for developing the broker relationships is just the amount of competition. But rather than jump around from broker to broker, what I started doing was I started working with specific brokers. And I'd work with those brokers every single time, whether it was C.H. Robinson, SN Global, didn't matter the broker. I always made sure I talked to the same person so I could get my name out there. I wanted my name and my truck number to be known. When you first start out, it's kind of like you got to prove yourself to the broker. And that's what I wanted to do. That's what I tried to do for this whole year, was to prove myself to the brokers and build that repertoire so I could secure something that I wanted. And it took 8 months of hard work and different brokers, but I finally found one. I prefer phone to start out with so that you can converse with them. Email can be somewhat slower, but email can always be a good way to communicate with the brokers. A lot of times, when you're driving a truck, you don't want phone calls and all that stuff. But I have found that like when their tracking app crashes, I just make sure I email them. That's what they're all about, is communication. They want to know where that load is. And eventually, once you build up that trust enough, the app can crash and you'll never hear from them. Well, that happens all the time. I mean, even the brokers that I deal with, they're busy. I'm busy. Just got to keep trying, send emails, leave messages, because there's times when I'll email the broker now that I won't hear from them for hours. But it doesn't worry me anymore. When I first started, it was like a fish out of water. I thought I was prepared when I started making those phone calls, but I wasn't. They start throwing stuff at you so quick, it's hard to keep up. So 3 points to remember: CloudTrucks motor carrier number. They'll ask you for that right off the top. Your tractor number and your trailer number. And have in mind the number that you want. Start high and go lower. Start high, let them counter, and then counter back. It's the best way to do it. It took a little while. I had some cold calling experience from a sales job, but transportation and trying to sell people something are completely different. Although, yeah, I am trying to sell my services and that I'm the best fit for this load, or, whatever the case may be. But it takes time. But if you work out a script for yourself and you stick to that script and you know what you're going to say beforehand, it'll all go a lot smoother. But I did have one broker that I talked to where I fumbled and he wasn't sure if I knew what I was doing. But it was just because it was a load that I never handled before. It was a Zamboni. I didn't know what the dimensions of the thing was. I didn't know what the weight of the thing was. And he wanted all this information, and it's like, I can't answer those questions. I never heard from that broker again. I use CT Estimate mostly. I also use a few other things like truck tools, radar map, or whatever it is. But I always start with the number that I feel comfortable with, that'll pay all my expenses, pay the truck's expenses, and make me a profit. I start with the highest number, the number that I want, and work my way down from there to my no-go number. Once it's no longer makes sense to even run the truck, then why bother? You're out here to make money, not to haul stuff around for free. That's one thing you need to remember. It was end of July. I was searching around on the load board. You never know what you're gonna find on that load board. That load board is a gold mine. And all of a sudden, I started seeing these round trips popping up for Manchester, which I had never seen before. So I grabbed it. And right after I grabbed that first one, they posted a load for every Wednesday for the rest of the month of August. So I grabbed all of those. So I started running this dedicated run in August. After that first month, the broker was offering me the loads directly instead of going to the load board first, and that's the way it's been since August. They haven't offered me the dedicated land officially. It's kind of like a month-to-month thing. And I suppose that's the only thing that scares me about this is having the one truck. However, it's nice that they approach me first and say, hey, do you want it this month? And so far, every month, I've taken everything. If I don't hear from them, so I didn't hear from them, the broker I usually deal with is on vacation this week, so I didn't hear anything. So I sent them an email. Hey, you have December's runs. And within 30 minutes, I had them and I secured them. Clear communication. I'm always on time. Most times, I'm always early. My appointment in Manchester is usually 12 p.m. I'm usually there by 10 a.m. And once I'm loaded, I'm gone. I usually arrive at Racine about 3 a.m. for a 7 o'clock appointment. So I pride myself on I'm waiting for my customers. My customers aren't waiting for me. It does take time, but you'll get your feet under you. Just take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy. It's a great experience and one that I wouldn't trade for anything else. Once you dodge all the curves and you learn all the nuances, and CloudTrucks is a big help in helping navigate that and providing that back end support. Because without CloudTrucks, I'd be that other company driver. I'd be a dedicated dispatch for some other company paying a lot more than I am to Cloud. So the relationship with Cloud is definitely worth it. Cloud takes away some of the uncertainty of the industry, the insurance. I know they're trying their best with the fuel, but there's only so much they can do. As so much anybody can do with that, and that's really our base expense out there. But a lot of the back end stuff that I didn't feel that I was ready for as a beginning owner operator is taken off my hands, so I can focus more on building the relationships with the brokers and the customers that I am pulling for. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you learned something new about broker relationships. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below.